I love the sunshiny weather.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So maybe even that's wrong because that is, well, there are just things that are nice that are secondary, and we use the word love too freely.
Right. So you can't think of any particular liability to loving things or things.
We put them before the Lord.
Yeah.
That's a liability.
Yep, Mark.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to say? When they become like the larger category in my mind of idols, when we're looking for our source from something else other than God, this is going to make me happy, then if it gets between us and God, then the things are not blessings. If we see them as gifts, praise God. If we are counting on them for something else, like our joy or our peace or some reason to be, then they would become a liability of sorts. What? I'm sorry? Yeah, idols, right, yeah, they become like idols. Right, okay. In looking at this, there was I read 1 John, I don't know, however long you read things in the Bible, but turn to 1 John. But I didn't realize it was so full of love. I was reminded of that too by some people who did know that. But it does talk about not loving in one section. Turn to chapter 2, 15, verse 15. We were talking about any liabilities in loving. And John gives us this caution. He says, do not love the world or anything in the world. Unless, like Laurie said, it's a gift from God, anything in the world. But he doesn't talk so much about things. If one loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For everything in the world, the cravings of sinful man, the lust of his eyes, and the boasting of what he has and does comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but the man who does the will of God lives forever. So I think, and you can tell me what you think too, that sounds to me a bit like a caution to not get so caught up in what? The things we have, the things we do, the attitudes we have of boasting or the lustfulness that we have for owning. What about you? How does that speak to you? Greg?
It's just that old saying that some people worship the creation instead of the creator.
Yes, good way to say that. Yeah. And that's a caution for us not to do that. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So, and if something else occurs to you about any of that as we go along, by all means. So then I wondered, do we just without consulting the oughts and shoulds, either from our own conscience or what we understand God says, put it this way, are there expectations in loving? And we're beginning to walk up toward loving people now. And so, and maybe you can apply it to some things too, I don't know. What kind of expectations do you think there are in loving? Both in giving love and receiving love. And first, in giving love, if you're loving somebody or maybe even something, what are you expecting back from that or out of that experience? Start with a spouse, maybe. If you're loving a spouse, what are you expecting back from them? Jane? Love back, absolutely, yes. We're wanting it to affirm something in us. Yeah. Whatever loving somebody means, we want that to come back to us. Are you willing to pick out any specifics about that? Like we want them to be nice to us. We want them to not say things to us that are mean or derogatory. We want them say better and nice things to do, nice things. We want flowers on our birthday, whatever all that means, you know. We're expecting some sort of recognition or acknowledgement that I love you, and we want that to be acknowledged. Okay, what about receiving it? If somebody's loving you, what are the expectations then that they love me that I have of being loved? Maybe that's a fine line to separate that, but are there expectations when you are loved?
A sense of belonging.
Okay, yep,
Being
yes, yes, I'm valued, right, yeah. And gratefulness, perhaps, that you're being thought of well. Not being rejected, yeah, yeah. And maybe a safe place. This is safe, yeah.
knowing you're not alone.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we have some, sense of living with that, whatever that word is, that reality in our lives. What about, and just one more aspect of that, what about loving your children, both in giving and receiving? In giving love to your children, what's that like?
It's a duty.
It's what?
You have to do
You have to do it, okay. Well, I don't know, I think we can maybe refuse, but it's kind of one-sided, don't you think? Especially in the early years, you don't get much back, except maybe a smile or a giggle or whatever those things produce on the inside of you. What about their receiving your love? Maybe not till they're 35 that they know that. Yeah, okay, I see Mark shaking his head. No, no. And you can say something, Laurie? No.
Well, I think when they're younger, you love them because of who they are, they're yours, and you take care of them.
Right.
The relationship is more like you say one-sided.
Right.
But once they reach a certain age, you're hoping that
Right.
that will be reciprocated
Right.
at some point.
Yeah.
Especially when you go into older age, you're hoping that they're going to be there for you when you need them.
Right, right, yeah.
But that isn't necessarily
No,
so.
no. Some of that didn't dawn on me until I had my own children, and I realized how for granted I took my parents and their caring for me, that when it was called out of me to give to my children, I realized I got the same thing and didn't even know it. Took it for granted. Didn't occur to me that it was their provision, yeah. Dick?
I remember when Andy's first child, Rachel, was born. I got a phone call one night. It was Andrew. And all he said was, I love you, Dad.
Yeah,
As it dawned on him.
the reality of who he was, yes, yeah. That's powerful, yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, well then we have some understanding of the dynamic, I guess, we're talking about in this thing we call love. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. What about separating feelings from the actions? No, I'll just move on to where I'm setting this up to go. I just thought we'd talk about this for half a second. I think about the expressions of love that are in media of all kinds, and my personal opinion is that men are way better at expressing love than women are. And it's evident in literature, I think, because most of the writers of that kind of literature tend to be men. I don't know why. Elizabeth Barrett Browning maybe hold it up for the women. But I thought of this, and you guys can, I don't know. I'm interested in some of what you think about it. There is a song, I'd walk 500 miles just to see you. Do any of you know that song? Okay. So then what happens between that song and I'll do it soon as it's halftime? What happens in there?
You mean in the song or in,
No, in life.
in life?
We have this.
Other things take priority sometimes.
Okay, so what happens to the walk 500 miles, do you think?
Goes down to 2 miles.
Maybe two. No, it's halftime.
Apparently there was no game going on when he sang that song.
Okay. As the game was over with the song came out. Well, I've thought about it a little bit, and I don't have an answer for it, except kind of like Lori said, life, and moving from the honeymoon time into life, that emotional reality, expression, experience is real and useful, particularly in the early parts of attraction that assures in that will move to a commitment to each other. And so maybe we can lay the blame at hormones a bit, and maybe a lot, I don't know. But after that, and we're motivated a little bit by the feelings in those early times, without much thought, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here too, about the living out of it. It's just the feeling, and the feeling is powerful, motivating, and we act on it. And the literature does that, all the poems and songs and that kind of thing, the 500 miles. But after that, when that kind of, I don't know what happens to it, does it just die down or fade away, or the hormonal expression is satisfied? I don't know, something like that. Then it becomes more of a choice. What am I going to be like, do like, think when I'm responding to that, what is it, a message of caring on the inside of me that we call love. So then we are presented with choices, and what we come with an attitude from our families of origin and so forth about how to do life. And built in that, like we were talking about expectations, is if you love me, then you'll. And the liability in that is when we move over into this choices part is, I can't read your mind. So if you don't tell me if you love me, you will. I have no way of knowing that. And for some reason or other, and you guys can tell me, why do you think we don't say that to each other? If you love me, I would either like for you, I wish you would, I need for you. Why don't we say those things, do you think? Mark?
Well, we study languages.
Right, yep.
So it is expressed in different ways.
True. So if we don't know what, quote, language to use, we either, if we say it, we might get it wrong. Yeah. Or we don't know how to say it in the way that the other one would get it.
We may express it through our preferred love.
Right, which may not be heard then. Yeah, right. Lori?
I think in a relationship where we profess that we love one another, or another person doesn't have to be a marriage.
No, right, no.
Close. I think there's an expectation that you would know.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to tell.
That's right. Yeah.
If you love me, you should just know.
You just know, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that sometimes is why
Okay.
you don't tell the other
Right.
because you want it to come solely
Yeah.
from them.
Right.
Because then it brings more meaning.
Sure.
But we all, as we get older, we have an idea of what love should look like.
Right.
And what behaviors.
Yeah. Our expectations of it.
Loving someone.
Right.
But it doesn't always look that way.
No. And like Mark said, we get it wrong just in the ways that we respond to caring. Do you think it's fair to say that idea and attitude, if you really loved me, you'd know is, I want to say, wrong? Is that wrong?
I think it might depend on how long the relationship
Okay, yeah, as you know each other longer.
All you should,
Okay.
you are expected to know that.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so then I'm thinking too that we don't like to be uncomfortable. We don't like to have our sense of what's right and the way I want it challenged. So if we say something to the person that we love and we suspect they might not like it, we're probably not going to say it because we don't want to see either that displeasure, that judgment, or the anger that might come from just having said it. So in our expectations of loving and being loved, that calls out, especially in the light of then after the 500 miles is over and we come to choices about how we're doing this thing, and we're presented with, I can't read your mind, so then I need for you to tell me. And I can't tell you because you're going to be mad at me for it. So then what happens? You live the next 50 years with this thing between you, right? So I, particularly in light of the songs we sang, to encourage us, and what somebody said something, or I think it was Rick, that in the expectations of love, there is an expectation of safety, that you've got my back. So to encourage us for all kinds of love, not just the marriage relationship, but all kinds of love, to cultivate a climate of caring that has writ in it, I've got your back. I'm not going to say anything to you that I will not intentionally say anything to you that will hurt you. If you, the commitment part, will intentionally not judge me for it, so that we together can make something better than what we've got now. If there's things between us, and life will be better knowing I'm safe, having said that to you, is in the choice place that